Awesome. Okay, so thank you guys for joining us. Thank you everyone who was tuning in tonight live. We're super excited to be back with our fireside chats for 2021. I know I mentioned to you all in Mighty Network that we're starting a new series called Just Like Me, where we're kind of gonna sort of dive into the stories and the journeys of different designers who are just like you guys, you know, Black owners of a business who are starting from, for a lot of people, a more untraditional fashion background and still making things happen. So the idea is that they're just like you guys can do it too. Some of you guys are already doing it. So yeah, and with that said, super excited to introduce you all to our first set of guests for this segment. We've got the creative directors and founders of WEARBRIMS, as you can see, and their names are Archie and Taj. Correct me if I said your names wrong.
Perfect.
And I'm going to pass it to you guys so you can give a bit more of a thorough introduction to yourselves.
For sure. My name is Archie III. I am co-founder, of course, one half of WEARBRIMS. I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee, by way of Atlanta, Georgia. Graduated Tuskegee University, HBCU, in 2012. And yeah, it's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, my name is Taj Crutch. I'm from Queens, New York, by way of Enterprise, Alabama. Graduated from Troy University, based in Troy, Alabama, with information systems. So I'm in the IT field, but I dibble and dab in the fashion world as well.
So they're being a little bit modest. Not exactly the right word for it. So one of the reasons I brought these guys on is because, and I mentioned this to you guys too, they're launching their latest collection in Nordstrom, which is a big deal. Congrats. Very excited. And you guys, I believe, you are the first Black-owned hat brand.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So that's a major. So again, round of applause, congrats. And can you guys just sort of tell me a little bit about your story and your journey with fashion and how you got into it? When did you realize you wanted to do fashion and all of that?
Ooh, long story. I mean, like I said, I graduated from Tuskegee University. Me and him are frat brothers. We both crossed Alpha Phi Beta Training Incorporated on Spring 11. Go crazy.
Okay, fam.
But no, me and Taj have been friends and brothers since Spring 11, since we met. We've been staying connected, bouncing ideas off. We both were fresh, just keep 100. We both were fresh in our own respective schools. But we love fashion. And I think back in college, we really didn't see the representation of fedoras and hats for us and being cool, honestly, to be real with you. And I think we didn't know much about entrepreneurship. I think it came later in life. I'm speaking more for myself. When I graduated, I kind of went the same route, worked in corporate. My background was HR operations. I worked for Target, Burlington, Marshalls. I worked for all the big box around all these stores. In 2016, I had just ended a long-term relationship with my fiance, and I was really trying to figure out how I can build my own legacy and really kind of honestly taking my mind away from that situation. And I kind of just started researching different things and kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And to add to that, my grandmother passed away from cancer about 10 years ago at that time period. And when she passed, before she passed away, she told me that she wanted me to create a legacy for myself and my family. And I really took that to heart, and I really wanted to build off of that. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know how that may have looked. What it looked like.
Don't pull on her, Trey. Stop it.
I'll do that.
Hey guys, we just make sure everyone's muting their mics.
That's a real mama right there. That's not like my mama. That's only my. That's it.
Love it, we love it. But yeah, guys, let's just all make sure that our mics are muted. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So going into 2016, I hit up Taj. I hit him up because he's a fashionable person, super duper dope person, very loyal, just amazing all around. And I had the idea of like creating our own luxury fedora hat company. And he'll go more in depth, but he didn't believe me when I brought the idea up to it. I don't know why, but
before you get there, let me show you my journey before that conversation had took place. I graduated from Troy University. Always loved fashion, always wanted to look presentable every time I leave the house, never wore do-rags or anything outside the house. And my mother always told me, always make sure you look presentable when you go out, you never know who you're gonna meet. So always make sure I was into fashion as a hobby of mine, nothing really too serious. Always wanted to just stay latest with the fashion or sneaker game or whatnot. But I kind of always knew that I was put on this earth to do something different than the norm. I didn't know what it was, but there's something different than just the regular like Archie State. Get a job, have a family, you know, white picket fence, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't see that vision for myself growing up, and I had a lot of people. I'm the second oldest of 8 siblings, so I had a lot of people kind of looking up to me and my older brother, just kind of like following our journey. You know, I was the first in my family to graduate college, so it was kind of like a lot of pressure on me as well. But I took that pressure with stride. You know, I kind of wanted to make sure that, like Archie stated, created a legacy for myself. So when he did decide to give me a call in 2016, after I knew him for 5 years from there, but but we kept in contact in between. But he gave me a call and was like, "Hey man, I see that we both wear fedoras in our own style palettes, and sometimes you ask me where I get mine, and I ask you where you get your hat, but we never can really find exactly what we really want. So let's make our own." So, you know, you get those friends that just come up with these ideas and you just be like, sometimes they just be blowing smoke, or they just talking because they might have a good night that night and they just like, let me just call home and just give them my idea. So I thought it was one of those phone calls. So I was like, all right, bro, that sounds
slightly
good.
mistaken. Slightly mistaken.
So I was like, hey, bro, that sounds good. So I hung up the phone. I was like, yeah, whatever. I kept continuing what I was doing wrong on my end, because he called me the next day. Like, and I thought he was gonna call me because he was probably just on some, hey, what's up, how you doing? But no, he called me about the same idea he had the day before about starting our own brand. And he was like, and I was like, bro, you really serious about this? And he didn't know, but previous before that, like a couple months before, I wanted to like create hats. I worked at a boutique called Steppin' Style in Troy. And it had like little Stacey Adams fedoras, the old school fedoras back then. So I used to grab them and try to like cut up like fabric and put stuff on it with hot glue and everything like that. And it didn't really turn out good. So I would just like, forget it. I just put it down. So when he came to me about the idea, I kind of looked at it like a sign, like, wow, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the Lord's telling him to reach out to me, because Archie knows a lot of people that's entrepreneurs, a lot of influential people that he could easily reach out to, but he decided to reach out to me. So I'm like, maybe this is a sign that I really need to look into this with him. But when that second call came, he was like, bro, like, forget what you're saying. We're doing this. I have the manufacturer. I have the fabric. I know where we're going to get all this stuff from. We just got to come up with the name. So I'm like, okay, I'm listening now. Like, sometimes you just need that slap in the face. Like, hey man, just listen. Just figure out, just focus on what I'm trying to tell you and let's get it done. So I'm sitting there listening and I was like, all right, let's come up with a name. And we just coming up with random, crazy, stupid names, crowns, on your head, the brim low. I was like, we just come up with some wild stuff. I can't really think of all of them, but just crazy things. But then I told him, like, my grandfather always told us when we got into the house, take your brim off. And I would just keep talking. I kept talking. He was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's it right there. And I was like, what? And he was like, brims, man. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, you sure? That sounds so short. I mean, it ain't really catching on nothing. He's like, that's it, bro. Short, sweet. It's gonna get to the point. So we just kind of went with brims. So he's like, okay, but brims is what it is. And I used to tell my friend, like, me and Archie finna start a business. We gonna call it brims. They was like, is that a fish? Like, they was like, is that a type of fish? I was like, no, man, your brim and your cap, like, that's what we gonna call it. A lot of people was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I told them the type of hats that we're gonna be creating is fedoras. They looked at us like we was crazy, because I didn't know anybody that was doing that. I'm pretty sure Archie didn't know anybody that was doing that before us. So we really didn't have no blueprint. So they was looking at us like we was walking in the desert, don't know where we're going. But we knew that we had something, we had an idea that, that wasn't tackled that we should definitely dive into.
And then to add too, I mean, me doing the research and really understanding the market, there wasn't anybody making hats cool, right? We know hats has been around since forever, right? Hats have always been an accessory, like belts, like scarves, like sunglasses. But outside the Harlem Renaissance, hats has never really been infiltrated into the Black community, right? Only baseball caps and things of that nature, of course, sneakers, but no one has really made it cool. I mean, you had Pharrell that made the
Forest Bear.
He made that cool, but other than that, no one was making it. If you see somebody with a hat on, was going to church, he was going wearing a suit or a dress. No one was wearing it with sweats. No one was wearing it with anything. So for us, it's just like we really wanted to create something that was cool and honestly something that represented us as us individuals from a black school. Coming from that and just being cool and being great.
Okay, so you guys didn't go to design school. You didn't work in-house for a brand. You, like you just said, you did not have the blueprint.
No.
But you started the brand anyway.
Yes.
So what was your initial approach? Like what
research?
What was the first thing you wanted to do? And then also what were the initial challenges that you ran into immediately upon starting?
Man, I feel like Google was our best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like Google was our best friend. I think my line brother introduced me to this platform called Makers Row. That's how we initially found our first manufacturer. And our manufacturer was based in New York because me and him was going back and forth with like, did we want to like manufacture overseas or do we want to do it in America? And I think for us, what we wanted, we honestly, we really didn't know what we wanted during that time period, but we knew what we wanted. It was weird, right? We didn't want to go overseas, but we knew we wanted to make it here and be handmade. But we didn't know how we wanted to go about doing it. So I found a manufacturer in Makers Row. It was in New York. We started working with them. And it was cool. Like we felt good. Like we felt good, but we were still not. We didn't understand a lot of things. We didn't understand. We got a hat. We would get fabric. We'll be at the crib just cutting up stuff and putting it around the band and then taking pictures of it and sending it. Like we didn't know anything about sketching. Like nothing. Like Todd could sketch a little bit. I taught myself how to sketch, but it didn't go well. So it was kind of weird. So it's like it was kind of defeating a little bit. Looking at the sketch, like man, it looked like my little brother did that. but I think we just had purpose. I think that was the overall thing of like, we had purpose and drive. And me and Todd together, like when we get together, it's just like, be honest with you, it's nothing stopping us, right? Even with us not knowing anything, we were gonna find a way to figure it out. Like we didn't know how to make hats on. Only person I met that made hats was one of my big bros, Keith. He had a brand called Keith and James, the Red Brim. He was the only person at that time I knew that was making hats. But I wasn't really like asking him questions because I feel like he was a competitor a little bit. So like I didn't really want to ask questions for real. But I just started doing research, looking at the Harlem Renaissance, like paying attention to different palettes and things of that nature. And we had our first hat was called The Beginning. And that's by far, like that is my favorite hat out of all the hats we've ever created. And that's the first one we ever created. And it's called The Beginning. It was a gray, it had an Aztec band around it. And we had our feather pen that went through it. And that was our signature. And I think we really utilized that hat to really find our palette and what our brand really represented. It was confidence. Like that hat represented us really putting our time and energy into creating a hat. Like we really was on the floor in my apartment, like cutting up stuff. Like we had a pink band around it. I wore it to the club one time. Everybody was like, "You fresh, boy?" And I was like, "This hat ain't popping like that. Let me put another band around it." So it just honestly, it was just trials and tribulations. Like you said, we didn't have any fashion.
Yeah, no background,
no
nothing. School institute, like we didn't really go through that. My research was kind of like I'm big on fashion because on my hobby, I just in the middle of the night I just go on runway and just kind of look at different new campaigns and different runway shows and looking at different things on Instagram or different styles. Like I pull from people's outfits. That's kind of how I pull when I design hats. But some of the trials and tribulations we kind of went through during that process is not knowing the right questions to ask our manufacturer. You know, coming into like Archie was stating, our first sample turned out great. So we like, oh, word, this is perfect. If all our hats come out like this, we're gonna be good. So we thinking we keep asking those same questions, all of our hats are gonna come out the exact same way. And we was mistaken on that one. So because our second hat came, it was like a bucket hat. It was floppy, it was real saggy, it was coming down. So we was like, okay, what is going on?
And it was right before our launch.
Yeah,
we had to stick with it. Like we got it. It came like 2 days before. And like we was like, this is not the same as the gray.
Yeah.
It was floppy. Like I said, like a bucket cap. But we had to push forward.
We had to push forward. But from there, we had to know what type of questions we need to ask our manufacturer, because they're not going to tell you what you want to know. They're just going to get your money and make exactly what you asked for. But then that's it. They're not going to say, hey, well, maybe this, maybe that. If you want this type of stiffness, try this. They're not going to ask you that. So you got to really dig and ask questions before you try to give all your money to make that first sample or first, cut and sew of your shirt or hat or whatever it is. Make sure you ask those questions and do your research. Like with fedoras, if it's going to be a wool, it's going to be rabbit felt. Like what's the measurements? 3 inches, 4 inches on the crown. You got to really dive into it and really pinpoint it and kind of like blueprint it out exactly what you want to center sketches, center measurements, center exactly what you want, because they're not going to do it for you. They're just going to get their money and keep it going. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the things we kind of ran into in the beginning. It's not knowing, because like I stated, we didn't know anybody doing it before. So we couldn't really ask an OG or somebody that we looked up to, a mentor or anything like that. But we just had to kind of dive in and like lose some money a little bit to gain, so.
A lot of money.
And everything's coming out of our pockets. Like we was working and trying to just push out of our pockets. So we ain't had no room for mess ups.
So you mentioned something interesting before about like you had a friend who was doing hats, but you were kind of afraid to ask. I think that there are a lot of people in any business or any situation who kind of deal with that same thing of like being afraid to ask questions. And you guys just sort of went into, like you just explained, like how important it was for you not just to ask them, but to ask the right ones. So how did you kind of get past that? Are you better at that now, like with finding mentors or finding people that, you can look up to or who can give you that guidance?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of my specialties. I'm a networker. Like that's something I do special. I realized that I think I got that energy from going to HBCU, especially Tuskegee. Like that's the energy, like the network and the family and the energy to be able to connect with people, right? And I took that energy and realized that even though I wasn't afraid to ask him, I still found a way to connect, right? And listen, right? I remember one time I just reached out to him after, like maybe a couple years afterwards, and like, yo, let's just kind of sit down and let me just milk your brain, because you're doing amazing things. Your hat's on Mayweather, like you're doing something right? And I think that what people don't understand is that it takes a village. My mom used to say this. She's like, it takes a village to raise a kid, whatever the actual terminology. And I kind of took that into the business where it really takes a village to really build your brand. And our 3 pillars are family, faith, and confidence. And we really live by those. Like our family and friends have really helped us push to the next level. And with us having the confidence to say, yo, I'm going to ask questions like, yo, bro, do you tell me, do you like this hat? Like, be honest with me, like really be honest with me and really tell me, like, is this something that you like, right? And really getting feedback, consistent feedback over and over again. Cause I feel like sometimes as designers, we don't want to get feedback sometimes because we get so caught up in our designs. Like, you can't tell me this is wrong. This is popping. I don't care, right? But it's just like, sometimes it's okay to ask that question. Like, it doesn't mean that you got to take what they say and be like, yeah, we're going to scrap everything we did. It's just like, it's getting opinions, because at the end of the day, you're making this product for your customers and your people. And I think that over time, man, we got great at connecting. We got great at asking questions. We got great in being honest with each other and really dissecting our hats and our designs.
Yeah, and always when it comes to, like, when you're saying asking those questions or talking to people, some people is not going to be so willing to give you those answers or just be like, oh, hey, this is in the third. Yeah, I got you. I'm hold you down. Sometimes they're going to turn their shoulder or close their door, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to just, take that with stride, never burn a bridge, because you never know how it's going to come back around. So just, you know what I'm saying? You can kill people with kindness, but at the same time, you can also kill them with your success. So at the same, so in that moment, you know what I'm saying, if they're not really willing to help, just use that as fuel to, you know, build and kind of push through what you're trying to get through or trying to bring out.
And I mean, I have one example of like the first time I was like, you really got to speak up for yourself. I remember one time we had an opportunity to showcase our product at this. It was a event that was given back, and Eva was there. She's the host. So the idea was we was going to showcase and have a whole video presentation, things of that nature. I literally sat there the whole entire time. No one came and got me, and they never showed any of our product. And I literally sat there and was just like, this is wild. I never had anybody disrespect me like this. And I'm really big on respect, right? But I didn't know how to react because I can't act like I'm in college and go crazy and start flipping over tables. But I had to figure out like, do I say something or like, how do I respond? So I really had to take a step back. I never said anything at that time, but what it taught me is that you have to have value in your product at all times, right? When I say have value in your product, have value in yourself and realize that, yes, we're up and coming, but you will respect us as if we're Gucci, as we're Louis Vuitton, as we're Nike. I don't care who you are. I don't care. You will respect us and give us the same respect at all times, because I would do the same thing for anybody that came to me with an idea or anything like that. And that's one thing I realized is that you have to respect people for what they have, right? And you have to give respect at all times, right? And be respectful. And even when people do you wrong, you tell them, voice your opinion in a respectful way, because people will do you wrong over and over again. I think that's one thing that we realize through all these trials and tribulations, building our network and really understanding how to communicate. And to your point, like asking these questions, it's not just about asking questions about our brand, but it's asking the questions about how to get better, like how to connect and how to build relationships and things of that nature.
Awesome. I noticed Rashima asked a question in the chat. Guys, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop in the chat, because if we have time at the end, per usual, we'll open the floor. But if you want to put them in the chat now, that also works. So yeah, okay. So we deviated a little bit because I want to stick to your journey.
Yeah.
So you started this brand. You've got floppy hats. How did you go from floppy hats to now having a collection in Nordstrom? Like, what was that process? How many years was that? And what happened in that span of time? And what work did you put in?
The floppy hat era was between 2016 to roughly around 18 wise. That was the floppy hat era, just dealing with that manufacturer. And it was so crazy because, like I said, things come full circle. It's another manufacturer we work with now. Archie reached out to him when we first started and didn't get a response. Didn't get email back, didn't get anything back. So we had to keep pushing. We couldn't just wait. So we ended up working with the current manufacturer we had in 2016, 2018. So when that manufacturer in 2018, they reached back out to us. It was like, hey, we see what you're doing. We like what's going on. We would love to work with you. Sorry, we missed your email 2 years later. But sorry, we missed your email. Can we sit down and have a discussion and conversation? So like I stated, like we did our research on this manufacturer. Manufacturer is amazing. A lot of people use this manufacturer, and we know they provide great quality of hats. And now from going through our errors with our first manufacturer, we know exactly what questions we need to ask when we come with this new one. And there was a way bigger manufacturer. So in around 2018, mid 2018, we sat down and had that conversation with them. And the ball was a little bit in our court now because they reached out to us now. So we was able to really, kind of negotiate prices, talk about exactly what we want, our minimums, kind of see exactly can they provide what we really are looking for. Can we get our samples in a certain amount of time frame, stuff like that. So we still currently use that manufacturer to this day. I know you wanted to know how we got from there to Nordstrom's. We currently use this manufacturer to this day, and we've been building, and all of our releases from 2008, early 2018 has been with this manufacturer. Our hats are now sturdy. You can tell, like, you're not going to, it's not going to flop. If it flops, it's going to come right back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we make sure we ask those right questions, and then we get on to them if we get a sample back that's not what we approve of. It's like, hey, we know exactly what we want. So don't try to just give us something that we're not paying for, or just because you're just trying to get us out the door and get our money.
And it's an ad. I mean, I think in addition to finding that right manufacturer, it was
Real,
curating.
real quick, because I feel like you're about to say something else, but what is the top 5 questions that you'll ask a manufacturer? If you were starting now, knowing everything that you know, what are the first 5 things off bat that you're asking?
I'm gonna tell you right now, minimums.
Yeah.
That's the, and I think for us, minimums is key because you want to be able to scale, but you want to be able to test, right? So minimums is very, very important to me. I think definitely tires too. Sampling. Like a lot of manufacturers have limits on samples, but this manufacturer doesn't really have a limit. Of course, if we make samples, never put an order in, of course they're gonna be like, okay, now you gotta put an order in.
Yeah.
For me, I would say samples, minimums, them understanding what we want, and we being able to easily effectively communicate to them what we want. I think sometimes that's hard when you're working with overseas manufacturers where you're trying to figure out how to communicate. That's why we chose to be American made. Hats are handmade in America. So those are the things that I would say, of course, sampling, minimums, being able to communicate. Communication is very, very important to me because I need to be able to communicate with you. I need to get on a call with you and be able to say, yo, you guys sent us a hat. And I'll be honest, they sent us a floppy hat yesterday. They don't send me floppy hat. We know we don't like those. That's a no-no. And I think maybe, I don't know if I have this sometimes maybe trying you. I feel like sometimes I be trying you sometimes. You gotta just put them in every direction, whatever it may be. But it's just like, don't send us floppy hats. So sampling, minimums, communication is like my 3 things. I'm not sure if Tom
No, I also want to know like a return. Like, what is your time frame on, say for instance, we place an order tomorrow. What is your, how quick will you get it to us? Like, what is your day-to-day, process on getting us our product? Also, I think my last question I will probably ask them is pricing. Like, what are your prices? You know what I'm saying? Because we started no, we ain't balling just yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we need to know our prices, so we need to make sure we can have, if we have a competitor over here, we can kind of see which one would be better, for us in our pockets.
Okay. Hope you guys took notes. That was a great little insight. So all right, you've got your new manufacturer, 2018 on, those are your guys. How did we end up here?
See, so one thing for me, I realized we had to tell a story, right? And of course, my grandma passed away from cancer, and about 15 years ago, my dad walking out on me when I was 2 when he had a mental breakdown. Those are things that was all going through my head as we were building the story. Taj's grandparents, wearing fedoras in the church, really figuring out how we can tell that story to our customers, us being alphas from HBCUs. I'm sorry. You always said it. HBCUs, PWI, same difference, you know what I'm saying? But us honestly really trying to tell that story. And I think, be honest with you, that's what got us here. When we first told our story to Nordstrom's, I kid you not, the lady started crying. Right?
But how did we get to that conversation with Nordstrom?
The story, right? So for us, it's just like us being able to communicate that story to our customers and us being organically us and authentically us. What you see is what you get, right? We handle business to the utmost respect, but we are authentically us, right? We design from the heart. We communicate from the heart. We push our brand from the heart. We do everything from the heart, like family, faith, and confidence, right? Family helped us push our brand to where we are now. Faith and ability to design, the ability to curate, the ability to love, the ability to step out on faith, the ability for me to leave my job, like for me to say, yo, this is a powerful thing to do. And then of course, confidence. Like when my dad walked out on me when I was 2 years old, even though he did have a mental breakdown, one thing my mom told me is just like, you're never going to let this keep you from getting to where you want to go in life. And when I take that to heart, because we know that a lot of African-American men grow up without fathers. but we always use that as a crutch to not be able to get to where we want to get to in life, right? And I don't think it's a crutch. I think it's just a powerful thing to say, yo, like, it's okay. We all have things that we go through, but that doesn't mean that we can't be our full selves. And I think us being able to tell that story of us being two dope African American men that have created a hat company that is different from the average thing that people create. Most people start with clothing brands, nothing to clothing brands, or nothing like that. But I feel like hats have been something that have been unique over time. They're timeless pieces. They've been around since beginning of time. And I think for us to be able to change the narrative around how you see hats, right? Wearing a fedora with hoodies and J's, and then wearing a fedora with a suit, and then wearing a fedora with a bubble coat with some J's or some loafers, right? There is no industry. We all know that fashion is universal. Like, there's no limit on fashion. That's why I kind of like this time we're in right now, where back in the 90s, there was a particular way to dress. Back in the 80s, there was a particular way to dress. I feel like now it's just like, you're being your best self. And that's what we want to sell. We want to not even sell, we want to tell that story like you are your best self. When you wear our hats, we want you to feel special. Like, that's our overall goal. Like, we want you to look into the mirror and be like, yo, I look good. Yeah. Like, we look good right now.
Like, and then like the piggyback off what Archie was saying, to tell your story, because you never know who's listening. You know, so try to get your story out there, because you never know who's listening, who's watching you, who's on your Instagram. They might not be following you, but they watching. Because we just always talked with Caitlin and Tanisha, our PRs, and let them know, like, this is the story we want to tell. This is our true story. This is us. And they have helped us push that out there. That's how we got here today. But at the same time, us knowing our story, being thorough, being organic to our brand and what we wanted to do led to our DMs, somebody sliding in our DMs.
Like, hey.
Not in that way, but a Nordstrom buyer sliding into our DMs based on our story, by just running across the story. And I asked her when I got on the phone, I was like, how did you hear about us? She was like, I follow a couple people that, you know, was wearing your brand or mentioning your brand. At first, I didn't pay it any mind, but I started consistently seeing it more and more and more. And then when my husband had mentioned it out of nowhere, and I was like, hold on, that brand don't sound not familiar to me. So let me really kind of do some research on this brand. And then when I read your story, I fell in love. So that made me reach out to you and try to see how we can make this work between WEARBRIMS and Nordstrom.
And it's an ad, I think it was consistency, right? We, from 2016, 2017, 2018, and 19, and 20, like, we were consistent, like, every single year. Like, we wanted to be better than we were the year before. And I think that just understanding where you want to go and, like, seeing your full purpose is more powerful than anything. It's more powerful than sales, because we all know that sales can go up and down, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful.
Love that. So Nordstrom slides in your DMs. It goes down in the DM.
Hey.
Hey. And what happens next? What's your initial reaction? What's the emotions? What's the game plan?
I'll be honest with you. I wasn't hyped.
I wasn't either.
Because we've had multiple situations come our way where it could potentially change the dynamic of the brand, and they go south, right? So when they came to us, it was exciting, but for me and Tyler, just like, let's actually have the conversation and see how it works. And I'll be honest with you, it still hasn't hit me yet.
Yeah, me neither.
We got barcodes, we got the product arriving on Monday. Like, everything is pretty much it's in motion,
yeah.
But it hasn't hit me yet. I don't know why. I think for me personally, it's just like, it's supposed to happen in a sense, but once I see it, it's going to really empower me to say, yo, okay, Bloomingdale, what's up? Saks, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's really get things moving, because seeing that, to actually see that happen and to see that partnership happen is a powerful thing. But when you actually see the fact that you can do more, because I feel like I've always been where it's just like, I feel like society always paints that picture that we're supposed to do this one particular thing. You're supposed to do these one particular things. You're supposed to go to school. You're supposed to go to college. You're supposed to work in corporate. We supposed to just, everything is supposed to be structured for us. Just like, and they say like, oh, you know, P. Diddy only come once in a lifetime. I don't believe in that. I believe that we get distracted from that. That keeps us from doing that. I feel like if more of us say, yo, like I'm gonna follow my dreams and be intentional, and I say be intentional, it's like have a job and push your brand, right? And push whatever you want to do, the narrative that you want to build, where it's just like not closing yourself to the purpose and the manifestation of what your life's supposed to be. Like, I don't want an average life. Tops don't want an average life. We're not going to have that, right? So the moment I always want to be the underdog, right? Nordstrom's is great. I'm still the underdog. They may cut our ass. You never know. Like, we need to keep going. You know, so always just being a step of the curve and realizing that life is short. Like, I realized that when my grandma passed away, just like life is short. You got to take every day to the full extent and really own it as much as possible.
That is so real. Like, I mean, we talk about this all the time, like being like kind of just not sinking into like being happy or excited just for an opportunity because you didn't think that it could happen to you. Like, I think it's important to sort of understand like, oh, no, this is regular. This was supposed to happen. So I'm just going to keep going for what's to come. Not being, I think they call it happy to be here syndrome, you know? No, we're not just happy to take whatever opportunity. We want more and we're going to get more. So
you're not being complacent, just definitely enjoy the moment and definitely embrace that, because like you said, like I just said, you only get one life, life is short. So embrace the moment, enjoy it. And then after that, use that to build like, all right, I want to feel something bigger. I want to feel something big. I want to push my brand or whatever it is to the next level. What is that? Start reaching for that goal.
And the purpose, bro, like purpose, like everybody has a purpose. Like, and I don't want to get preaching, but everybody has a purpose. Like, regardless if it's you're an athlete or you're a designer or you work in corporate, right? That doesn't mean that you're supposed to just be a manager. Why you can't be a CEO, right? Why you can't run the company? I think we get so, not even we, like society paints that picture of us like we supposed to be this. We supposed to just be an HR manager. I can't be an HR business manager. I can't be director of HR. You know what I'm saying? Like, taking those titles away of like, yo, just get to it. Like, be whatever happiness that you want in your life, go get it. If you want a Range Rover that's green and matte, go get it. Like, why not? Like, that's just what you want. Like,
make sure you have the money for it.
Yeah, make sure you have the money for it, but you know, don't put it on credit. You know what I'm saying? But I think the thing is just really understand who you are. And that's why I'm really big on mindset. Once you change your mindset and you realize that you are more, then you can do more. Right? That's what I'm a big thing. Like, I used to work HR. So I used to always tell my team, like, it's all about your mindset and how you perceive things to be, right? If you want to be a millionaire, you will be a millionaire. If you want to be a CEO and you are an associate, you will potentially be a CEO. But it all depends on what you put into the work that you put into things and how you just manifest it and how you make it happen come to life.
I always say knowing is half the battle. I think a lot of people sometimes maybe they don't strive for certain things because they don't even know that it's available to them, or they're taught to believe that what they have or, you know, lower goals or all that's really out there. But I think once you know, it sort of unlocks this thing. Like you said, it's the mindset. Once you have the mindset, the rest is almost, it's not gravy, but like, it's like gravy with like mashed potatoes, you know? It's a couple of lumps. But to steer back, okay, because you mentioned something before. So you've got the order coming in, you've got barcodes, all these things. I think it's important to sort of zoom in there because, you know, we have a lot of designers who dream of having, you know, their collections or their products in a department store. But, and I've seen this before where, you know, the opportunity comes, it's super exciting, and then they don't even realize everything that comes with having a product in a department store. Like, there's like timelines.
I'll let Archie go into depth with that because he's been full-fledged on it heavy, and he always remind me what we got to do and what we got going on because my journey is different from Archie. Archie is 100% WEARBRIMS entrepreneur. I'm in corporate and WEARBRIMS. So my journey and my story is different than Archie, but at the same time, I'm giving my 100% on both sides. I hate when people say you only can give 50-50. You got to give 100% both times. You don't sleep and do something you want to do, you just might not be able to get no sleep some nights. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to time management. You got to do your time management. But that's when that order comes and those conversations done, you get your numbers right and everything. That's when the work starts. It's not easy.
I didn't realize, like, if you talk about, like, to your point, you talk about like getting into these retail stores and things of that nature. I didn't realize that this shit was difficult. Excuse my language. It's like you get one thing done, like, oh well, you gotta do this. I'm like, what? I don't even know how to do this. Like, it's like you gotta like teach yourself how to do it. You gotta bounce ideas off your team, really get it done. It's crazy. I go say it like it's crazy. But one thing I will say is that how I look at Nordstrom is a big thing, right? But I look at Nordstrom as we're building a relationship. Like Nordstrom's they came to us, and for me and Ty, we told them, like, we don't want to just be here for a year. We want to grow with you guys. We want to be that hat company that is here with you guys for the next 50 plus years, right? And they agreed. They're not trying to just have us in here for a season and let us go. They want to build with us. So our deal was very unique because we wanted to go in there intentionally smart, right? We didn't go in there with 5,000 units. We went in there very intentionally saying, we want to be in 3 stores and we'll be online, and we want these amount of units right now. And as we scale, we can add over time, because you just want to make sure that you look good. I don't care. Like, I'd rather do 10 hats per store, sell out 10, and then we keep going because all they just want you to sell a product, right? They just want you to sell a product and be intentional. And we told them, like, y'all do you. We gonna make sure in the back end of marketing, we gonna get it popping. We gonna have the content going. We gonna have everything going apart to really make this work. But it's very, very rigorous. I would say that, like, getting things done, trying to make sure, like, not missing a beat, because you missed this, they may cancel your whole order. But also being very, very honest. If something happens, like, just communicate. Tell them what's going on. If they want you, they'll make it work. Right. That's why I always tell people always ask the question, like, should I be reaching out to retailers? For me, I say no, because I feel like if you reach out to them first and they do see your potential, your deal is not going to be the same as if they reach out to you. Right. And I think a lot of times, like, when Macy's reached out to us back in 2018, that deal was, I'll be honest with you, was trash compared to the deal we got now. Right. And I'm grateful that we passed on that opportunity, because now we're here. Right. We're with Nordstrom. Out of all the retail big box, they're doing the best. They have the funds during the COVID pandemic to buy product, but also help you grow. Because I look at Nordstrom as a marketing, it just builds credibility. Right. It just builds credibility. And it helps your brand get another stamp, like, because you just want stamps, like, of approval as you grow. Just stamps of approval. When you get Beyonce, you get on the Black Parade, the stamp of approval. You know what I'm saying? When you get a GQ, stamp of approval. It's just stamps of approval that just help you help your customers feel comfortable, but also just makes you feel good too as well.
Love that. So what were some of the most unexpected things?
These barcodes. These barcodes, bro. Sorry, like, these barcodes, like, you gotta have a barcode for each one. The number got to be different. Yeah. I'm like, I worked in retail. I didn't know it. I worked in retail. I didn't know it. Like, you gotta pay for a yearly subscription to the. Like, it's so much. I'm sorry.
I just posted a question about that. Literally.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, I think the one thing I was just like, bro, like, what was the barcodes? The GS1. That's them. That's them. Had me stressed out. They had me stressed out. I'm like, I had to call Nordstrom's. I had to call them. Like, y'all gotta pair it together. Like, this ain't a computer. Like, I thought it was easy.
Yeah. Well, true words, huh?
Brand webs, they're black designers for hats. So my mentor.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
Okay, someone was unmuted. But guys, now you know, for those of you who are still in your planning stages, get acquainted with those barcodes because you don't want to be caught off guard.
At a time.
And be in like communication with your manufacturer and everything.
Oh yes.
Consistent communication. And I don't care if they say, yeah, it's gonna be on time. Call every day, every hour, every month to make sure that they are scheduled to be there, and don't give them the deadline that Nordstrom gives you or whatever deadline you give them like a couple weeks before, so you can be able to pivot or navigate just in case something goes wrong, especially during the pandemic where FedEx, UPS, and everybody that's taking their time with deliveries, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta give yourself some wiggle room.
Yeah.
Oh, thought it was muted. Okay. So I know I wanted to give a little time for questions. So we have like 10 minutes left. I have one more quick questions for you guys. You guys are a duo. We have a lot of designers here who are, solo entrepreneurs. But we talk about, and we actually, Brandis and I plan to dive into this a little bit more. We say it's important to have a team, or at the very least to have someone who completes you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. A lot of times as designers, the artistic piece, you got it down, especially for those of our designers who do have a bit more of a traditional like fashion background. That artistic creative piece, got it down pat. But sometimes, a lot of times the business side of it, that doesn't come as naturally. And we are big proponents of like, okay, let's teach this piece, let's learn it, let's do what we need to do. But also it's okay to like bring someone in who does have that piece down pat. So can you guys talk a little bit about like sort of the roles that you play as, co-founders and like where you guys sort of complete each other?
We were both doing everything together in the beginning. I think as we saw it changing, like Todd is the beast at design. I can design too, but I'm more the business. Like I focus on the business. Now in person, like the first 3 years, we were both doing business, we were both designing, we were doing everything. But we realized we had to really kind of figure out a balance because we wanted to push the narrative on the business side. We know the business is what makes the company. Of course, the design, gotta have the design, but Taj can design like this easily. He could probably design something in his head right now. But you know what I'm saying? But I think for us, like we really wanted to make sure that we understood how to really be co-founders together. And I think me and him already being brothers, it's easy for us to communicate. Sometimes it's hard. It's like sometimes you gotta get past because you don't want one person to feel some type of way, and realizing that they really not gonna feel some type of way because at the end of the day, it's like we're brothers and we want to be on the same road. We want to be at the top. So I think we've been through those situations where Ty may not know how to communicate to me, I may not know how to communicate to him, but once we actually talk, we're like, damn, I should have said that shit a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just honestly, just having faith in your person, your co-founder or your business, like having faith in him, not even about design or the business, but him to understand, like, we're the same. So like, if he tells you something, I'll be like, damn, you're right, bro. Like, my bad, I apologize. And same thing for him. So like, in the beginning, it was a little difficult. We didn't know how to navigate that, but we got really, really better at it because we started like really just being honest, but of course being respectful. But we brothers at the end of the day. Y'all know how brothers are. Like we talk, we get through it, and then we make it work.
Yeah, and for those individuals that don't have a business partner or just going and tackling things on their own, I commend you because it is hard work. You have to wear multiple hats, but at the same time, your story gets better because now you can say, I built this from the ground up. I did this, that, and the third. But at the same time, when I got to a point when I realized I needed some help, I was able to bring somebody on that had a better knowledge in this aspect of the business that can help me focus a little bit more here so we can build the business together. Not necessarily bringing them on like a sole partner because this is your idea, your baby. But you know what I'm saying, bring somebody on the contractor or something like that to kind of like help you get started, or a friend that you think is very creative that can help you design and stuff like that. You never know. So, and when you have an idea and people see that you're serious about that, it's more people out there that's willing to try to help you or willing to try to be involved than just, you never know. You just gotta just read people a little bit. Don't just bring anybody into your business. have some interviews or something like that, but just don't just like, hey, come through and design something for me. Definitely do some research and kind of like we in 2021, kind of check them out. Check their IG.
Fact check
IG, you know what I'm saying? Ask some friends that might know that person, you know, ask them how they are business-wise and everything like that, because that's really important because whoever you work with, you got to be able to trust. You know, honesty is key. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be walking on eggshells trying to build a business. You cannot, because it's gonna get some times where you won't get on each other's nerve, or whoever your team is gonna get on your nerve, or you might get on your team's nerve. But at the same time, you gotta have that communication to get through those times and keep progressing.
And also too, when you're doing multiple things, like when it comes to vetting people, you know what you want, right? If you need an ad person, I've done ads. Okay, I know how to ask this question. You're not about to finesse me. I know how to do it. I may not be a super expert, but I know the basics, right? If you've been doing photography already, you know what you want. You know how the aesthetic you want, right? You're able to actually vet these people and not waste money and just have people coming in and out and not know what's going on. So I think it's always good to kind of do. I always tell people, build your own websites, build your own Instagram, like start off doing those things, because when you start scaling, you need to hire people. You know how to hire the right people. The right people make your business work the best. Now we have the right people. We have a business manager. We have a brand partnership manager. And we do everything else around, but
we have our lovely PR.
We have our lovely PR, of course, you know what I'm saying? So we know what we want. So as we scale, I know what ads look like. I know what content look like. We know everything that we need, so.
Awesome. And with that,
questions.
I want to open up the floor. So Rashima, I saw you had an earlier question, so the floor is yours.
Yes. Let me go back. I forgot what the question was.
Like 33 questions.
Yeah.
Oh, so my question was, do you plan on expanding to other products or categories in the future?
Just we look at WEARBRIMS as statement pieces. Yes, our main pieces are fedoras, our brims, but we want to give, if we do tackle anything, it might be like some type of accessory that's going to be a statement. It may be a jacket, maybe a belt, an umbrella, anything in that sense. You know what I'm saying? A statement piece for it can add to your wardrobe, not take away.
Got it. And I have a comment question to follow up on that. So I'm the founder of Sunsun, and we specialize in luxury and premium bow ties. And so I'm wondering, are you open to doing partnerships? Because I think we would be great. And we have the similar missions and mottos.
No, please reach out. I'll drop our email in the chat.
Okay.
Conversation for sure.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, collabs are big, everybody.
So first, for let y'all know, like we're really like one thing that's different from other brands, like hat brands and any new brands. Like that's one of our pilots. We love doing collabs and doing things of that nature because it's just a cool way. Like we are like Kith and like how they do collabs all the time. Like we kind of like that aesthetic and we kind of do that. So that makes us different than other brands.
And I feel like it challenges both brands to kind of think outside of the box to kind of fit one common goal. So that's what I like to challenge about.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rashima. Candy, I see you've got your hand raised. I forgot that thing even existed. So if you guys want to raise your hands.
Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I saw like an email some time ago, I believe it was last year, from Makers Row where they featured you all, and I do follow you and I love your hats. The question that I have is in regards to manufacturers. So I have some dealings with manufacturers and it just seems like it's so challenging because, you know, as far as they'll promise you the moon, but they don't. The specific experience that I had, it didn't turn out that way. And so I
Ooh, Candy, you're kind of cutting off a
want to
bit.
know your experience and what advice for some items that I have.
I kind of caught. I didn't the whole question of the question because you were cutting in and out. I'm sorry.
Candy, could you
Oh,
repeat?
I'm sorry. Reception. Oh, sure. I'm sorry. I'm traveling, so it was bad reception. So I was wanting to know what advice would you give, not just only to me, but for other designers in regards to manufacturers, because oftentimes they will promise you the moon, but they don't actually live up to what they're promising you in regards to deadlines and time frames. I've had like some issues with that. So what would be your advice to us?
So I would say off top, I think we've had situations like that happen. We go to the top. Like I remember one time we had a situation. I said, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like I want to talk to your boss. Like we don't need to have a conversation anymore because you can't help me.
Yeah, you give us a runaround.
You give me a runaround.
Yeah.
So please let me know. Like we've talked to the CEO of our manufacturer before, and the SVP of our manufacturer. Like me and Taj were like, yo, I'm sorry, our associate, but I can't talk to you anymore because you can't give me the right answer that I need. Because not to be cocky, you are working for us. We pay you. Like and we pay them up front too. That's be we pay them up front. So I'm not about to keep paying you up front if you keep not delaying our orders. Mm-hmm. So we had a conversation with them. We be very transparent. That's one thing that me and Taj do. Like now that we're kind of seasoned, we're very direct, but respectful. Like we're very direct because at the end of the day, it's like if I'm paying you and you are promising, because if it was flipped, if I didn't pay you, you'd be trying to come get that money.
Exactly. Every day.
So don't have the same energy when it comes to the manufacturing side of things when you're delayed. Right. So that's one thing we did. I would advise you is to have conversations with the higher ups that really talk to them. Don't continue to talk to the associates that are handling your orders. Like talk to the higher ups, but also too, if you don't have an actual set manufacturer that you built a relationship with, like continue to look for more manufacturers because it's hard out here. I'll be honest with you. We almost said, yo, we about to leave you. When we said that, it was like, please don't go.
Yeah. And definitely because sometimes like Archie said, like go to the higher ups because sometimes they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then when they get on the phone or the Zoom call, whatever, and they hear what's going on and they hear the concern and the customer and the complaint, they're like, okay, we need to get this fixed. They might, sometimes you're going to get those CEOs and executives that's like, oh, well, but most of the time they want to keep those customers, especially during this time. They want to keep all the customers they can because they want all the money rolling in. So you kind of got a leeway right now because during this pandemic and COVID, everybody's trying to keep every change and coin they can get. All these companies are. So you can use that as your leeway a little bit to kind of say, listen, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying threaten them and say like, hey, I'm gonna go here or whatnot, but at the same time, just use your words wisely and tell them exactly what you want and give them deadlines ahead of the time that you really want it, just to be on the safe side because they're gonna say they're gonna give it to you, but they might come up with any type of excuse. So just give them that, just try to give yourself some safety room.
Yeah, and use like that. You know how they tell you like, okay, these are our policies. This is what we do.
Right.
Use that against them because if they tell you that you make an order, it takes 3 months. You say, hey, like you got delayed. Like, what's gonna happen? I need my money back because you said that in my contract it states that it takes 3 months to make an order, and you guys didn't communicate that the order will be delayed. So you like pay. Like, I'm not saying you're not paying attention, but pay attention to the wording that they use so you can use that against them when things may happen.
And get that paper trail of some emails and be like, hey, you stated right here in this email, and I'll forward to you, your CEO, your executive, your senior executive, stating that I can have my stuff at this time and this date. You said that. So use that word against them at some times.
Okay, thank you so much. And someone else put in the chat another question that I had about, do you guys maybe suggest using more than one manufacturer? Because it's one manufacturer that I utilize. I was just so distraught and just like at the point where I'm just gonna give up because it took them like 6 months and I was just being so nice to do my sample. And I was just kind of like, now I'm at the point where I'm just so kind of like nervous about manufacturers. But so do you guys use more than one manufacturer? What would be your advice on that?
So for us, it's a little different because not every hat manufacturer is going to make the right quality hats that we need. Mm-hmm. I think for apparel, it's a little bit easier for people that are in apparel and they make design, they do cut and sew. It's a little different for you guys because it's so many more manufacturers for you guys. So I'll say for you, if you are in apparel and the design and cut and sew, definitely have multiple manufacturers. If you're in the hat business, it's kind of hard when you want to build a relationship with that hat company that can really curate your brand. Just be honest, like it's hard. We thought about having another manufacturer, but then we were like, we don't want our customers to be like, they got one hat that's this quality and then the other hat is another quality. Even if it's better, you don't want to like have mixed messaging for your customers.
So you gotta sit down and have that discussion with them. Like, listen, we on our last straw with you. Like, we want to continue this partnership. Like, how can we make this work? You gotta get everybody in the company on the call. go ahead and try and do that, because everybody got to be on the same page to move forward. And I know everybody probably think like my company's small. They probably work with different size companies. They bigger and stuff. They're not gonna listen to me. No, I treat my company exactly how you treat that multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company as well. I'm giving you my money, my hard-earned money, just like they are. So I always go into the meetings with them with that energy.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Candy. Do you guys mind squeezing in one more question from?
No, man. I ain't got nowhere to go.
Go ahead, Nikayla.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for your story. I really needed some inspiration today. And I hate that it's another manufacturing question, but it's kind of a continuation. So I haven't actually even gotten my product out yet because of manufacturing issues, and I have a shapewear product, so it's a highly specialized kind of situation where it's hard to find factories that do shapewear and hosiery, and that's what my company does. And it's a new design, so it's like it's not out on the market yet, and so I feel almost beholden to them because it was really hard to find a factory to be willing to kind of do it. And they took on the project, and I've noticed some things that need changing and everything, and it just seems like I kind of actually what you said, like I spoke to the CEO and he was a little kind of abrupt with me, and he made it kind of seem like he didn't care about my project. And it's just like, really, I actually have people who are asking me like, when is it coming out, when is it coming out? I have like a large group of people that are interested and have made offers, and it's like, it's really frustrating. And like she said, like there's months have gone by, and I understand like COVID is happening. So I don't know what you would recommend, because I feel like if I try to find someone else to start over again, it's just going to be like more time where I have to delay my launch. So I don't know what you think.
Are you able, like, so were you, when you spoke with the CEO, like, how did you come at him? Was it more of like, did it come off as that you needed him, or were you more, I guess I won't say forceful, but more direct? Like, how was that conversation with him?
I mean, the conversation was a tad bit direct. I mean, like the conversation was, we spoke at the beginning of this project about, what I was looking for, and you said you could provide it. And I get it, it's COVID's here, and you're doing a lot of mask orders or PPE or whatever. I understand that. And they had to kind of halt things for a while. But it's like, now that it's back on, I feel like my project just keeps getting pushed and pushed. And I even went and during COVID, during this time, I've even gone and visited them, met them in person to try to like establish some type of rapport. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Like,
I definitely want to applaud. I definitely am sad that that's happening to you, because we've been through that. It could be stressful if they're not responding. But honestly, I hate to say this, but I think it would be. I mean, I think it would be still communicate with them, but to really try to find another manufacturer as well. And if you need help trying to find, I'm not in that field, but I have some relationships that I may be able to offer to you that may be able to help you pull in the right direction. Because I mean, I think I don't want you to be able to lose your whole project because you're trying to go to another manufacturer, but you don't want to wait as well and not get nothing back, and then you just wait. Yeah, so you can email me. I put my email in there, info@WEARBRIMS. You can email me. We can connect it on a phone call. And I have some people that are actually in the field that maybe be able to direct you and maybe find you another manufacturer.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, I think that was a great way to end off. Thank you guys so much. This conversation was really, really good. I honestly think this is like the perfect start to this series that we've got going. So thank you for being that. Yeah, this was really, really good. I don't know. Well, this is the first time ever meeting each other, but I think I'm excited to follow you guys and learn more about you guys, especially if it's like HFR. Definitely, exciting to see what you guys are doing, and we're paying attention. So congrats on everything that you've, go ahead.
I just want to say, like, our brand is all about like motivating and inspiring people. So like for you guys that may be going through situations, like don't give up. Like please don't give up. Like it's for you. If you're doing it, that means that it's for you. We are in it the same way you guys are in it. Like we haven't hit our first meal yet. We're almost close, but like everybody, like please, like stay locked in, like stay motivated, like keep your family around you because those are the individuals that's gonna keep you grounded. Like they keep us grounded. Like really, honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like it's been times where I cried, we both cried, you know what I'm saying? But our family keep us grounded because we know that this is the purpose for us, right? At the end of the day, like me and Todd, this is for us. Like this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna be millionaires. This is what it's gonna be, but it's not gonna be easy. Right. So for all you guys as the designers, like keep at it, be honest with yourself, stay motivated, pray, meditate, go to the gym. And if you need to take your frustration out of the boss gym, you're like, manufacture, I'm taking you out. Do what you gotta do to make you feel sane. Because at the end of the day, the more you feel comfortable in yourself and not letting that stress get you, and I'm saying it's easier said than done, the more you're able to create and build your brand because you don't want to be so mad and frustrated where you can't build your brand to where it's supposed to be. So everyone, please stay locked in. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all for even taking the time just to listen to us. Cause I mean, we're still growing too. Like we ended the same as much as y'all. So
Correct.
Just like them, guys. This is the series, guys. We're just like each other. Everyone's one and the same. We're all doing the same things. Cora asked, what 3 stores are you guys going to be in?
We'll be in Atlanta Perimeter Mall. We'll be in New York, Manhattan, and we'll be in Garden State, New Jersey.
All right. So when that drops, pay attention, guys. Tell their friends. And when it drops, make sure you guys go support. What was that?
February 22nd.
February 22nd. All right. So we right around the corner. Awesome. Right. You're telling us. But again, congratulations, you guys. Cannot wait to see if I can make it over there. I'll definitely post that up and be like,
online too. So if you can't make
online, okay, that we can do. That we can definitely do.
COVID, stay safe. Stay safe.
Definitely stay safe.
Alana, you did a great job. You did. That was the first
Oh.
one. We felt very comfortable with you.
Yes.
Like, we appreciate
Nice.
But tell Bernice I said you did great.
Thank you. Don't make me blush, guys. Okay. Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Now I'm like feeling bashful. Okay. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you, Caitlin, for reaching out and setting this up.
We're good.
Have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Thank you. Bye, Caitlin. Bye, Caitlin.
Aloha.
Bye. Bye.